Hi, I'm Yaara. I'm from Socialist Alternative in North London, but originally I'm from Israel, Palestine. I've been in England for about 5 years now, and I'm on a visa here, which makes me an immigrant. Also, I was made redundant about a month ago, so right as the pandemic started around the world. But what that means for me is that today's announcement that workers are going to get sick pay doesn't have anything to do with me. So I can't get that sick pay because I've already been laid off. And on top of that, I can't get benefits or unemployment because my visa doesn't allow me to receive public funding. So I'm basically screwed. I've got my redundancy pay and the little bits and pieces that I've managed to gather, and that's it. That's not going to last me the time this crisis is going to last, On top of everything, I've got asthma, which means I have to be in self-isolation because I'm technically on the high-risk group. So I can't even go and get interviewed for jobs. And I before they put on the serious restrictions, I have been going to interviews, but ever since the restrictions were put on, nobody's phoning back. People are stopped hiring now, and who can blame them? This is such a weird time for everyone. There's an economic crisis because of coronavirus and because of the way that the governments around the world are run, and nobody knows what's going to happen today, tomorrow, any of that. So even the companies that do allow you, to work from home, to get interviewed in Zoom, are just not hiring anymore. That means that I'm not going to have a job for quite a long time, and also not going to get the money from the government because the government said it's not retroactive, it's only for people who are still in work. So it's just not enough, on top of that, my visa says that I need to, when I pay for my visa, I also pay for the NHS, but I can't really get the services that I need now because of the coronavirus. So obviously that's not the doctor's fault, it's not the clinic's fault, it's not the hospital's fault. It's the fault of a government that's been draining the NHS and all of welfare out of resources for years and years and years, and are now not copying onto it and not doing anything to protect us and have this kind of be okay sort of state of mind about something that's definitely not going to be okay, because if you don't have enough nurses, you don't have enough doctors, you're not paying anyone enough, you don't have enough hospitals, you don't have enough beds, what are you going to do? So what the government has decided to do is to pay £2.4 million a day to hire beds from private hospitals. Now that just shows us that the government does have money. It's not like they don't have money. It's just the question of where they put it. Do they put it in the pockets of the people who own those hospitals, the pockets that already have the money, they're not struggling to pay their rent, let's be honest. Or are they putting in the pockets of people who are actually struggling, who have been laid off due to corona or for other reasons right before the crisis and now can't find a job? Are they helping people, or are they helping the rich? And it's very clear what the Tory government has decided to do. Now, how long is this crisis going to last? The most conservative estimates say a few months until August. That's still quite a long time, but the most common estimates say at least a year. Now, I'm sorry, I don't have enough reserves to live for a whole year without working, without any government pay, without anything like that. I can't even go back home because the borders are closed. So, and I'm not the only one who's stuck here as an immigrant with nothing to do, with no help. And we live in an age where it's not uncommon to not have savings. It's not uncommon to not be on a living wage. And how are we expected to save for a crisis that even the rich who can afford to have predictions weren't prepared for? People in my position have just been made redundant or laid off, people in worse positions, and even self-employed people who don't earn enough money to get sick pay from the government. We just don't have anything, any option, anything to do. Now the government has to take steps to make sure that all of us are secure and safe. But the Tories are just not going to do it. They've done us a favour to even take the steps that they have taken. And when I say done us a favour, it's because of so much pressure that we put on them, and that like, you know, they've seen from the way that other governments are handling the situation, which is not perfect, but it's way better than saying that you're old and you're sick, die, and we'll just move on from it, you know. But that's just the way that it needs to be. We have to be proactive about it. We have to fight back. Now, obviously, we can't really go to the streets right now, but we can involve the trade unions. The trade unions have to make it clear that people in employment and out of employment need to get some help from the government. It's also good the government closed, you know, pubs and restaurants finally, but that's so that they can close and actually get their insurance money. But that's not enough because their employees are on 0-hour contracts, or, you know, have already been laid off, or even if they can get sick pay from the government, they're getting 80%. Now, that basically means that all of us are paying a 20% coronavirus tax. Now, that is ridiculous. Why should we pay that money? Like, you know, like most of us are not getting a living wage. Most of us are struggling as it is. So getting 80% of that and then also needing to pay our rent is just absolutely ridiculous. And you know, the government showed us there is money, they're paying it. Also, there's so many rich people in this country. You know, there's millionaires, there's billionaires, there's so many of them. Why can't they just start paying their taxes and pay the tax that we're paying out of the pockets that are already full? Why do we need to struggle and not be able to eat, or even get toilet paper or hand sanitizer at Tesco, when they can do all of these things and just cruise with their private jets? And you know, we have to put as much pressure on the government, but at the end of the day, the Tory government just doesn't know what to do. They're taking these small measures, but they're not doing enough, and this crisis is going to go bigger and bigger and bigger unless we find a way to fight back even during this crisis.